We came to this country in 1959. In July I started, took a ship, Caledonia, from Karachi to Liverpool. Then I took another ship, Caledonia was the first one, and the second one escapes my mind. It'll come to me. So that one brought me from Liverpool to here. I took the ship. It took me practically 27, 28 days to get here because it was cheaper. In those days, traveling by sea was much cheaper than by air. Air service started in 1954 across the Atlantic. So 58, 59, it was relatively new and quite expensive. So Sylvania was the other ship which I took from Liverpool to Montreal, Three Rivers in Montreal. So I landed here on the 1st of August. I was stuck in England and couldn't get along with people in those days over there because I thought I'm independent, have the freedom of independence in Pakistan, and the British looked at me as one of the colonialists, so I couldn't see eye to eye. So it was only 1 week. I'm glad it was only 1 week. So I came to this country. In ship, I had few problems as well. I came out of university and I applied for immigration, and they were willing to take me because being an engineer, graduate, but I had no money. So I told them I'm a student and final year, I don't have any money. If you pay my way, I'll go. Otherwise you have to wait, 1 more year. To my surprise, they kept my file open. After 1 year, they corresponded again. And I had some money. By that time, I had a job. And I traveled and came to. Even in the ship, I had a cultural problem with people. One British guy in Sylvania, he came to me. He said, "Jolly good day. Lovely day." So I looked at him, I thought there's something wrong with his mind. Reason was culture. We don't talk about the weather back home. Never. And it's the 365 days we have in a year. Maybe 5 days are cloudy days. 360 days we have sunshine. And we escape the sun. So I thought this guy is a cuckoo. So cultural differences again. And it took me about 6 months in Canada to find out I know what he meant, a good day. So when I traveled in the Indian ship, I ran out of money. I had no experience with the money and I didn't have much anyway. So I have to resort to palm reading. There were quite a number of Hindu traveling there, and English ladies were as superstitious as the Indian guys. So I set up my fee 1 sterling pound. And I made quite a bit of money, and I spent quite a bit of money. When I took Sylvania, now I had a trade, palm reading. So now I was a palmist, unofficial palmist in the other ship as well. So I made some money there too, coming to Canada. So I came to Montreal. By that time I was broke. I had the $300 money draft, cashable from Bank of Montreal, which I thought I'll go to the bank and give it to them. I had no experience with the money. They will cash it right away and give me the money. But no, it was not intended that way. They will give you the money, and but you have to wait 2 weeks and this sort of thing. It has to go to Montreal, and I was in Winnipeg. So, but one step before, when I landed in Montreal, food was strange. In the ship, the food was strange. But I survived. Sometimes I ordered two meals, and the guy who was serving, he looked at me if I'm crazy. Really, I thought black pudding, in my views, pudding is something sweet. So I had my main course, so I was ordering dessert. So I said, may I have black pudding? So he gave me a very strange look. But he brought me black pudding. Oh my God. I ate it. I felt like vomiting. It was made out of blood. I asked him, how did you make it? It was not sweet at all. He said it's the blood which comes out on a plate and they scrape it and they put it into little tubes, and I'm not supposed to eat the blood. So these kind of things, cultural, food difference, all these things. And now in Winnipeg again, I mentioned to you how I was invited, but people were curious. They wanted to know about my culture. They invited me to come about 7 o'clock. I asked my landlady, not to prepare meal for me, supper on that day. I'm invited by a foreman, the company I was working with. But when I got there was no meal, because they had a little finger food and a cup of tea and coffee and that sort of thing, some juice. So it was not a meal in our country, and I think same thing in Afghanistan, If I am eating here, even now, if somebody's at the door, by chance he comes there, I say, okay, come on in. Have you eaten? I ask that. If he says, yes, I've eaten, I say, okay, sit down with me, just eat a little bit, just to taste the food. So this was the kind of hospitality I left behind. So there was no food. I went hungry that night. I couldn't ask the lady. I was 22. The biggest thing I was really surprised in this country was the dating system. I was really, how could a father say, take my daughter out? Because I come from India. I was born there, kicked out in 1947, successfully landed in Pakistan. And in India, I was used to, and I was accustomed to, what they call parents' arranged marriages. In Pakistan, they are contract marriages, nikah, we use the term. And here, I came here, and it was an entirely new system. And they were courtship marriages, courtship and love marriages. You take somebody's daughter out, you tell him your daughter is beautiful, and he feels happy. In Pakistan, if you take somebody's daughter, oh my God, you're done with. He will come and kill you. If he's not strong enough to kill you, he'll send his young son after you. It's the same in Afghanistan, I believe. No dating. Yeah, it's the same. Because I lived in Pakistan area, Peshawar, in that area as well. As a matter of fact, many women don't travel outside. And many of them, they have burqa, or some forward-looking, they have chadar, they wrap up their body, and some would have niqab. In Lahore, you will see females outside. And in Lahore and Karachi, we also had a prime minister who was a female. But in that area, no woman goes out. So it's quite a different area. So I was now learning about the courtship marriages. So I asked the guy about it. This business, his name was Don in Winnipeg. So he told me how it goes and all these sort of things. And I said, how do you get married? He said, you put your weight on one knee, you go down, and then you propose a woman. I said to myself, on my dead body, I will never humiliate myself to that level. She needs me as a good husband as much as I need her as a female. Oh no, I thought he's pulling my leg. I said, are you serious? He said, yes. I didn't believe him. That you go on your leg. Again, cultural differences. Food was entirely different. I was invited to a picnic in Montreal, and somebody was trying to give me hot dog. Would you like to have a Muhammad hot dog? Sincerely, I believe the Canadian eat dog meat. I said, no thanks, I don't eat dog meat. Now I know I come from Pakistan and we border with China and they eat dog. And I knew that. So I wrote a letter to my father, Canadian also eat dog meat. So he was surprised. And then of course 3 years later I have to correct him, no, I was mistaken. It's not a dog meat, they just call it hot dog. So these kind of cultural differences I encountered. And language was another problem. I told my landlord, she told me, I was going out to a movie, so I dressed up, put the suit on, real dressed up. I looked sharp. When I was young, I was very handsome, so I looked good. So she said to me, Muhammad, when you dress up, you look really good. So I said to her, give her the compliment, I said, you look good when you are not even dressed up. Husband, he laughed his head off. He said, don't tell me when I'm around you. When I'm not around, then you tell. I said, oh my God, what blunder I did make. Because I was just praising her that she looks good all the time. So these kind of things, was quite common. And I go out, buy ice cream quite often. I love ice cream. So I was walking, pick up the ice cream, and they will give me in a cone. In Pakistan, we don't have cone. We have nice, beautiful glasses, and we fill them up, and you eat it with a spoon, So I looked at it, looked brown, brown cone. So I scooped it up with those little wooden things. It looked like a shoe, sole. So I took it out, and I used to throw it out. And then, he was a friend of mine from Germany. He used to come sometimes walking. So when he came walking with me, he took a ice cream, I took an ice cream and the cone, and after eating ice cream, I threw it into garbage. He said, Muhammad, what are you doing? This is supposed to be eaten. I said, it's cardboard, I don't eat cardboard. So he had a big laughter. He thought it was amusing. He would sit down and laugh. There were tears in his eyes, He couldn't believe that. So he ate it in front of me. He said, it's not cardboard. It's a flour, made out of flour. So these kind of things I've been doing. So I met a teacher there. And she encouraged me to take some courses so that I would learn English. So I took English, grade 12. And math, grade 12. When I went to the classroom, I couldn't understand a word, from the teacher, what he's saying. I was new here. I couldn't understand his English. He didn't have a normal accent like Pakistani people have. So I couldn't understand. So in a haste, after 1 or 2 lectures, I went to the office and they seemed to be honest. They gave my money back. And deducted only a little portion, which was again unusual because back home, if you give the tuition fee, you are gone if you rather go. So they were quite honest people. They gave me the money back. I was really impressed. And the people were quite nice, friendly, and I don't know how much they were friendly and how much it was their curiosity. I was more like a curiosity to them. Men from Pakistan, they have never met. Men from India, they have never met. In 1954, there was an agreement between Pakistan government. They will take 100 Pakistani every year. 500 Indian they will take. Before that, there was only British coming to this country or some Europeans. After the war, they took quite a number of Germans. So she encouraged me to take the courses, but it was a failure. So I knew I cannot understand. My English is a problem. So I said to myself, somehow I did, even at the age of 22, I had very clear thinking. I said, no courses, no studies for 2 years, watch a lot of TV, father knows best. So this was the program in those days. So black and white TV, I used to watch a lot and try to understand it. Buy a newspaper once a week, Winnipeg Tribune. Open up a dictionary, read a portion every day. It would take me a whole week. And then the paper back home, paper is expensive, is 2 pages when you open it up, or 4 pages on a special day. But here the paper was with so much advertising and this and that, and I couldn't imagine, how much they have every day. How could people read that much? But there was a lot of advertising. So the teacher, I told her, I'm sorry, I can't cope up with. I'm going to save money, learn English, and then I'll go to university. So same teacher, so she encouraged me. She asked me to come and speak to her classes. I said, I can hardly express myself. I have accent. I talk English in Pakistani. And so she said, no, you just come and talk. People are quite understanding. They're my classes. And you speak about your country, and you speak about Islam, what the religion is. People don't know anything about it. So she really prodded me, really coaxed me. I said, okay. So I thought I'm going to discuss the 3 main points of Islam. These are the still points I have it. No charge. So these 3 points I was preparing. I was quite nervous, to be honest, but I didn't want to admit to anybody I'm nervous. I never spoke. And our education system is teacher-centered, not student-centered. So we have difficulty, even the graduates, when we come out from the university, we are reluctant to talk. So we have difficulty talking. So this teacher encouraged me quite a lot. So I wrote down some main points on a piece of paper. I went to the school. I learned that there's still about 25 minutes. In those days, periods of 40 minutes, not 70. Nowadays, they're 70 minutes. So I went there, and office, they told me to wait, sit down there, and there was going to be a bell, and when the bell rang, the class would be, new class is changing, and you could go and go there and talk to the classes. So still I had 20-25 minutes, so I thought I should go and rehearse my point because I was a bit nervous. Not a bit nervous, real nervous. So facing 40 students, 35 students, I thought it was quite a challenge. Excuse me. Okay.
No, absolutely.
So instead of waiting there on the bench in the hallway, I decided I will look some empty room and I'll rehearse those points and elaborate those points. So I will go into some empty room. So I found an empty room and I was pacing up and down and going through and what I'm going to say. Mentally I was preparing myself. A young lady, beautiful young lady, about 17, 18, she walked in. She smiled at me. She said, "Are you the speaker?" I said, "Yes." She asked me if I'm nervous. I lied. With a plain poker face, I said, no, that's okay, I'm all right. So she quickly washed her hand and she proceeded towards the door. And then she looked back again and she said, "Sir, what are you doing in the ladies' washroom?" Oh my God, I was sweaty. It was ladies' washroom and I ended up there rehearsing my speech. And oh my God, I quickly jumped out and I'm glad there was nobody using the washroom. And I went there and, but people were nice. They encouraged me, even if they could not understand sometime. what I'm saying with my accent, but they did all right. They helped me and all this sort of thing. Oh, you mean that? Okay. I said, thank you. He said, no, thank you. You guys say, thank you. Put your tongue up there. And they taught me actually. I was saying, thank you. Like Indian Pakistani, that's what we always say, thank you. So she encouraged me. And then I